Hi everyone, this is a mediumship reading on Sinead O'Connor. So I wanted to concentrate on the mother wound for this one. Sinead has been coming into my essence over the past, I would say, couple of days. And in meditation, I asked her, would she be happy with me making a video on this subject around the mother wound? And she said she would be happy to. So just a bit of background about Sinead. Sinead O'Connor was a famous singer, a famous Irish singer. Um, she started her career at a very young age. She died on the 26th of July 2023. She was 52 years old. She very much was suffering after the death of her son Shane, who died on the 17th of January 2022. And many would say she died of a broken heart. The coroner's report said that Sinead's cause of death was chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and bronchial asthma. So, connected with the heart, I do feel myself that anything with the heart, when it comes to broken hearts, is a telltale sign, but we will look into that. First of all, I'd like to greet Sinead, and I would like to ask her for a message from the Afterlife Outbox deck. Welcome, Sinead. Thank you so much for being here. I have a few questions lined up. It's not going to be very long. This first video, we may do a part 2 and a part 3, but this is really basically giving us some insight from Sinead's perspective about the mother wound. But first of all, let's get a message from Sinead for all of us before we begin. I never got to tell you how much I still watch over you. You've Got a Friend by James Taylor is a song. There'll be more messages in that. And the industry is arts, media, and entertainment. So how fitting is that? So she's very much looking at all of us, all of our supporters, all of us who loved her so much and supported her, and letting us know that she's there and she's with all of those who really did support her for who she was on the inside, is what she's telling me. Okay, that's nice. So we're going to use this deck and we're going to play this video and then we're going to ask a few questions to begin with. So this is the autobiography that Sinead wrote, Remembrance it's called, and we're going to just play it and then we're going to ask a few questions.
I not told it myself. If I hope for anything as an artist, it's that I inspire certain people to be who they really are. She'd asked me where the welts on my legs came from, or about the massively swollen black eye I once had. She'd say, "It's your mother, isn't it?" But I'd deny it. If my mother found out I'd told, she'd murder me. I felt bad lying to Mrs. Shields because she's lovely. I don't know why she likes me, but she does. I'd like to be her girl. I'd like to be going home with her every afternoon. She'd look like she was about to cry whenever I said it wasn't my mother. I'm jealous when I see the other girls walking down Marion Avenue after school with their mother's arms around them. That's because I'm the kid crying in fear on the last day of term before the summer holidays. I have to pretend I lost my field hockey stick because I know my mother will hit me with it all summer if I bring it home. But she'll just use the carpet sweeper pole instead. She'll make me take off all my clothes and lie on the floor and open my legs and arms and let her hit me with the sweeping brush in my private parts.
Okay. So you all heard that. Pretty dramatic and devastating, to say the least. I pulled a few cards while she was talking there. At the beginning, she was talking about how she had to cover up with the wounds that she carried on the outside in regards to her mother's abuse. So what we got here was she had to resist being open about it. Her scars were there with that Five of Wands. Let's bring that over so you can see it a bit better. Her scars were there. There was no doubt about that because her teacher asked her about the scars. Okay. But she had to. They were there for everyone to see. There were her battle scars. Okay, but she hid them. She had to hide them. Six of Wands in reverse because I think in a way there was like excess pride there as well with her. This was this card. This is what it represents. So in regards to the Nine of Cups being here, I feel like this is the way she felt about her mother. I look at that card and I see like a mother figure on it, just the way she's sitting there with her arms folded. And it just gives me, you think you're all that. And she's telling me her mother did have that kind of attitude towards her. And she did feel there was like a jealousy with her mother about her in regards to her looks. And it was as if she was saying, you're never going to come to anything because you think you're all that, and I'm going to make sure that you don't. And with these battle scars, this is the Emperor in reverse, so this is domination and control, and this is the school, the teacher in the school with this Emperor, seeing that and being quite angry about it as well and trying to confront Sinead about it. But Sinead hid it because she felt in her own heart that things would improve and that she would be able to earn the love of her mother. How sad is that? Sinead, can you tell us why, in your opinion, your mother was so abusive to you in that manner, especially around the female, you being the female parts, and that part of you that she seemed to hone in on? Okay, so with the Magician being in reverse here, it was as if she was like in some kind of an illusion, some kind of a trance in regards to their connection. With the Lovers in reverse there, it makes me feel like she was so conflicted herself in regard to, I feel like this is connection to the divine, because I'm drawn to these shards coming down, but it being in reverse. It's like the Catholic religion, it's like the old, well, it still is very much alive, this belief that you were born into original sin, and anything that was talked about or any attention that was brought towards your sexual body, your sexual organs, was a sin. That should never happen. So that's where her abusive mindset was coming from. And with the Queen of Cups being in reverse here, it just tells me that her mother, she was quite fragile in her own right and had a lot of wounds. Let's just bring the Sacred Wounding deck out now, and let's just ask Sinead to give us the wounds of her mother. Well, that one literally fell into my hands. That was the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is all about your emotional body. It is those sexual organs. It's the womb space. So if you are feeling a blockage in that, you're disconnected from your passions and your desires, and it's like emotional numbness when the sacral chakra is wounded. So let's see what else she gives us for her mother. And there is struggles with intimacy and relationships. Okay. Anger and resentment. Well, that's when I was saying about the anger and resentment towards her daughter and her daughter's beauty, because I feel she felt, because her daughter was so beautiful, that Sinead would attract a lot of attention, and she wanted to literally, as we say in Ireland, put the fear of God into her so that she wouldn't encourage that. And the mother was going to abuse her in a way to make sure that she never would forget what she was hammering into her in her words and her actions. So this is, grudges, irritability, bursts of anger, and these are rooted in past injustices as well. So I feel the mother carried a lot of, let's say, wounding passed down through generations, generational wounds, and that was carried on to Sinead, which I feel Sinead healed in her lifetime. And it can manifest as lingering bitterness that prevents healing and moving forward. So those two together are pretty powerful. This one seems to want to come out as well. Control wound. So obviously, her mother was controlling her, making sure that she was miserable. And it's like micromanaging everything in her life and making sure that she kept a tight rein on her. And also being very unpredictable. So Sinead wouldn't have known where she was. Let's just continue with this and see where we go.
She makes me say I am nothing over and over, and if I don't, she won't stop stomping on me. She says she wants to burst my womb. She makes me beg her for mercy. I was standing in Blackrock Station with my sister after school, waiting for our train to Glenageary. A train passed through at full speed, and a blonde boy of about
about that. Let's bring this over. She wanted to make sure that she couldn't move forward. Pulled those cards there when she was saying that. She wanted to make sure that she was protecting her, in her own words, that she was making sure that nothing was going to happen to her, but it was in a twisted way. So this is the delay in her development, I feel, is what we're talking about. And with the Queen of Wands there, so that's, being very vengeful. And this is a card of jealousy as well, and it's coming out in the same row. And it's just a lot of secrets. I think that her mother held on to as well with her own pain in the past. Let's just break that down a wee bit more about the secrets. What can you tell me about these secrets, please? They were a heavy burden, yeah. I feel like there was a lot of, this is your duty, this is your obligation to do this. I feel like there was a lot of indoctrination with the mother. Tell me more. Yeah. So the mother had to discipline the child as a card of discipline and moving forward and, being self-control. So she was like controlling, like keeping everything in, so she could control her own burdens. But she couldn't, when she couldn't do that, she lashed it out, and she lashed it out upon Sinead. So it's very clear, isn't it? It's very sad. Let's move on now and see what Sinead would like to tell us about where she is now and what she feels she has healed in regards to her mother and these wounds that her mother had. Okay. Sinead, tell us what it is you feel you have healed. What has been the big lesson you would say when you were here, and that you can see now that you've healed? Well, this is a card of destiny, but it's in reverse. So I feel like this is like a card of bad luck. So what I'm hearing is my bad, when I passed, the bad luck stopped. You know, it's like I just never had a chance. I just always felt like, what's the next thing's just going to be? I'm just not happy here. I just feel like the world isn't for me. Yeah. So, and she's also talking about self-love. So this is the card of self-love, the King of Cups. So she wasn't able, she said she had moments of self-love in her life, but it was really only when she passed that she really understood the meaning of self-love. Yeah, the card of truth, the King of Swords. So she says that was her greatest lesson. That's what she came here to understand about self-love. But she says, how could I understand about self-love when I felt abandoned in regards to love? Okay. Thank you so much for that, Sinead. Sinead, can you tell us what would you change if you could come back? What would you change if you could come back, Sinead? What would you change if you could come back? So this is collaboration, you know. I feel like this is how she interacted with people. Tell me more. And she's telling me she was very, very isolated, you know, in regards to her thoughts and regards to not feeling like she fitted in. Yeah. So this is, you know, the new beginning that she had. This is the Ace of Swords when she transitioned. So telling me here, I want to clarify with the card, because the question was, what would you change if you could come back? So that's, you know, the mental health issues. Tell me more. That's, you know, survival, how she just had to live life in survival mode. What else she did? Poor choices that she felt that she made. Okay, so what would that mean to you on a personal level if you were able to change, if you didn't have to experience all those things, Sinead? What would it mean to you if you didn't have to, you know, if you could come back and you didn't have to experience those things? Let's get 3 cards for that. So that's the vulnerability there. She's saying that she could allow herself to be vulnerable, and she would be able to, you know, improve and make positive changes in her life if she came back. And she's telling me here that in regards to feeling, you know, kind of stubborn and, you know, like someone who goes against the norm, she would be able to allow herself to be vulnerable instead of being like that. Confirmation. Yeah. She would start something new. This is the Ace of Wands. This is a brand new beginning, something that you're passionate about. And I feel like it would be something to do with families and family dynamics and coming together like that. Because she is giving me like the self-love is something that was absent in her life. Because essentially she felt that she was abandoned, because the greatest form of abandonment is not loving yourself. What would you like to tell me about that, please, Sinead? Yeah, she's saying to everybody to wake up and listen to that, because she's saying self-love is the key. On the bottom of the deck, there you go. Relationships and love, and most of all, loving yourself. She's telling me that she has healed in her family line this generational wounding, this pattern. It stopped with her. Bottom of the deck, ancestors. It has stopped with her. Where would you like me to go now, please, Sinead? Where would you like me to go now? Let's get one of these. Where would you like me to go now? What direction? Move. Raise. One more. Opportunity. I feel what she's telling us here is it's important to grow in life. And she said that was one thing that she always done. She always grew. She always tried to expand her horizons. You know, she had a great connection with God, is what she's telling me. And she sought out these opportunities through trying different religions to see where she would feel the resonance. What would you like to tell us about that, Sinead? About, she says she never felt really satisfied with it, because there wasn't an equal give and take. There was always something missing. Can you tell us about the time that you ripped up the picture of the Pope? What was that about, Sinead? What can you tell us about that? She's telling me it created chaos. Were you afraid of the aftermath? She says what it was about was rebuilding the Catholic Church. With that turn reverse there, she says she was trying to prevent something. She says something had to be done and someone had to speak out in regards to the Catholic Church and everything it represented. Confirmation. So she was like trying to bring awareness, she's telling me. Yeah, there she was charging in, defending her own beliefs. She's also telling me that she didn't tell anybody that was the photo that she was going to rip up. It was going to be, she told them it was going to be some other photo of someone else, but on that program that she done that, she didn't tell anyone. Were you afraid that was going to harm your career in any way, Sinead? Are you doing that? This is, going in another direction. She says by this stage she was losing interest. She's also telling me a very interesting thing about self-sabotage. And she wants me to pull a Secret Woundings card in connection with that. She's saying it's about feeling abandoned by her mother. And this is apparently this is what people who've been abandoned do. They do self-sabotage their success. Okay, let's see what wound comes out. Creativity block. Let's see the one that goes with it. That one. Your ego dissolution. Yeah. So essentially that's what she's saying. And also at the bottom of the deck we have fear of failure. This is very common in people who have abandonment wounds. They go through all these phases, fearing they'll be rejected because they always were. So what they do is, they put things in place, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, so that it won't happen again, to protect themselves. So I feel like this was something that gave her like a breather to be able to, with everything with the song, that famous song that she had, Nothing Compares to You. There was so much success instantly with that. And she's telling me that that was just too much because she was so young. And there was a lot of this, fear of failure, fear of success. And she's telling me that she just didn't feel that she had the tools in her life to actually handle it all. She was so young. Could we have confirmation on that, please? Yeah, cup of replenishment. That's what she done. She gave herself time out. When she done that, that's what she was doing, whether it was conscious or unconscious. Everything had just gotten too much for her. And again, the bottom of the deck, we have karma. This is a karmic cycle, and she has stopped it. Would you like to give me confirmation that you've stopped the cycle, this generational wound, this mother wound, please, Sinead? Boundaries, set them daily. Yeah, she's learned the importance of boundaries, and she says that's a big part of what she did, what she knows, that needs to be done in order to stop this wounding, this mother wound. Yes, and she's saying that she's a beacon of light for others now, and she's going to do her best to help from spirit in regards to self-love, especially, and the importance of self-love. One more, I feel. Again, that karma card. So she's telling us that that's what this is. And with a lot of people who have mother wounds, that is something that is a generational thing. And many of us who do find that we do have a mother wound, and are doing spiritual work, will be the ones to actually heal it. She's telling me the importance of educating yourselves in regards to, your relationship with the mother. And she's saying boundaries is a big thing. And to be an example for others, can you tell them how they can do that? So this is releasing fear, releasing control. Okay. 2 more cards, please. That's the 2 there. So this is, delays. And again, this is a card of boundaries. So I feel I want to get another one to clarify that. It says, always stand up for yourself and understand that you are a person in your own right. Yeah. The Three of Cups. So this is, community, bring in your own support, she's saying. And I feel like she's saying this particularly in a spiritual perspective. She's telling me she never had the understanding. She just had the Catholic Church, and it was black and white, right and wrong, good and bad. But she's saying there's so much to be celebrated now in the form of healing. And she's saying, like, don't delay with this card as well. You set yourself free and don't delay, and set your own boundaries and celebrate yourself. Let's see what else I have here. She's talking about mental health now, and she says mental health. She's referencing her son who died from suicide, and she says, don't let them tell you and give you a diagnosis, because I know that she was diagnosed with bipolar, as well as something else. I have it written down here. PTSD, in regard to the abuse, but she says that's labels, and she says don't let them give you labels, because now there's so much that can be done in the form of healing. What would you like to tell us about that, Sinead? Well, there's the healing. And there's, the feeling that you're deprived, you're never ever going to be able to heal because you've been given this label. And this is the anxiety and the fear. So this is healing the anxiety and the fear, even though they're telling you that you can't do it. So what would be your advice, Sinead, to those who have children suffering from mental health and are being labelled, and adults who are being labelled? What would be your advice? Give me 3 cards. To know that there's new beginnings and there's new hope. To stand up for yourself and fight for yourself, and don't be accepting what it is that they're telling you. She says, this is the Emperor in reverse, says there's a lot of control in regards to this in the world, but the way forward. Would you like to tell us what the way forward is, Sinead, please? Thank you. Facing your fears. Facing your fears. This is the King of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Devil, which represents the fear. She says, head it straight on, and not to push it down. Pushing it down is this, the death at the bottom of the deck, the resistance to change. That's what's going to keep you stuck. Magician in reverse. That's, it's kind of like a trickery, the medical profession saying this is what you've got, you just know now this is your this is you, this is your limits, you can't go beyond your limits, blocking your creativity, keeping you in the dark, making you think that your life is going to be something that can't be expressed, and making you feel like fearful of change. So let's get a card from my light deck now. Facing your fears. Can you give us a card, please, to clarify that? Thank you. That's the way forward, birthing the new evolution. facing your fears. Can you tell us, Sinead, how you would like to, if there's one thing you could come back and change, what would it be? I think I asked you that before, but I feel like you're asking me to ask you the question again. Okay. Let's really use this deck here. All right. She feels very, very happy in spirit. And I feel like she's working very hard with self-love, helping people to love themselves, especially when they have come from families where this has been carried down the family line. The importance of self-love is something that's going to heal it. And she does understand that how challenging that is for people who have never really received that much love. But this video is all about knowing that, you know, you can, it's not just a one-way street with that Six of Pentacles there. You can ask for help if you don't receive it from your initial family, to know that you can receive downloads from spirit and you can receive help from anyone in a community that works with spirituality. She's really referencing spirituality, and also a really good counselor, someone who you can relate to. Okay. Well, she's talking about the void. She's telling me that she had been in this void, this dark place, many times in her life, and sometimes it's necessary to be in the void to come out the other side. Tell me more. She says that's where her passion and her art came from. Those moments of sadness where she wrote her songs and was able to release it. You know, that is what created her passion. What else, Sinead? Yeah, and communicating that. I feel like she's talking about her voice there. So she's telling us to understand water's at the bottom of the deck. So that's your emotions. So your emotional pain. She's talking about how to use that and how to use it in a positive way. So she's telling everyone who's suffering from mother wounds and anything that's affecting their development, their diagnosis, their depression, their bipolar, their PTSD. She's saying, understand that this is temporary and this is something that will become a catalyst for what will be your passion and your love. But it's important to speak up and be heard, and to know and to love yourself, and to tell others and show others that you love yourself and have respect for yourself and have boundaries. So that was a lovely reading. Really enjoyed that. I hope you did too, guys. Let's get another Outbox card from Sinead so that you guys can see and get some confirmation of what she's been saying to me. I think we're going to ask her for 3 cards, Sinead, so that we can give a final message to everyone watching. Okay. First one, second one, third one. If you could feel my love is the song. Let's just roll the dice here. Number 8. Oh, it's one of these long ones. P.S. You were never meant to carry this alone. I see the weight you're holding, the quiet burdens you don't speak about. You don't have to do this by yourself. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to let others in. You are allowed to release what is too heavy to hold. You don't have to be the strong one all the time. I never needed you to be. Let yourself lean out to others, just like they lean out to you. That just sounds like Sinead. It really does. And this is the first card that came out, you know, unequal give and take. She's saying the importance of asking for help. And the next one, I've got happy birthday on that. And the song on that is My Wish, Rascal Flatts. I'm just looking at the dates. Well, her birthday is coming up the 26th of July. I'm making this recording on the 6th of July. So let's see what it says. If you could feel what I feel now, you'd realize that love is the only thing that ever mattered and that love was always enough. Again, emphasizing the importance of self-love. A very happy birthday, Sinead, for your birthday coming up on the 26th of July. Well, this is her birthday month, so that's lovely that that came out. I have a typewriter in that song. Feel like that's very apt too. She was very poetic in her words and in her songs and even her biography. I would highly recommend reading that. I haven't read it myself, but when I was doing some research to get something to come up, I found an audio in that Rememberings. That's what I played for you earlier on. It's absolutely beautiful. This one has like an adult playing with their child. I'm already there, Lone Star. I feel like that's in reference to your son. Let's see what the message is. The wisdom I leave behind is to live without regrets because time is never promised. How very true. And there's a shamrock on that card. Lovely. So that's where I'll end it, guys. Big message about self-love and boundaries. I'm just looking at the first card that came out, the Afterlife Outbox card. And again, it's You've Got a Friend by James Taylor, and it's an adult looking after someone. It's all about like self-love and listening to yourself, because she drew me to the ear in that card. And she said to me, it's important to listen to yourself and your own needs. That's so important. And she's telling me that her biggest regret was that she couldn't be the mother to her children that she really wanted to be. But she felt she just didn't have the tools to do that in that lifetime because she was never given them. But she's telling me that she's so much making up for it in spirit, that she holds her family so, so close to her heart. And she always did, and she was just never really able to show it the way that she wanted to show it. Wow, it's a huge, huge example of a mother wound. It really, really is. And I know her wounding was so intense and so extreme, but I think it's inspiration for the rest of us too, who may say, I do know that I carry a mother wound, but it's up to us. We're responsible for ourselves to do our own healing work. And that's what she's telling us, to reach out and ask for the help. So guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. I hope you enjoyed that. I may do a part 2. Let me know if you'd like me to. And I'll see you next time. Bye.